Good morning, everyone, and welcome back for another stream. It's Saturday. I know. I know it's Saturday, I'm aware. I've not completely lost track of the days of the week. Hi, Parhelion. So, hello. Yeah, it's Saturday, and I felt like studying, and because I felt like studying, I was then like, actually, do I feel like streaming? Yeah, I kind of feel like streaming, so we're here. It's the 13th of March, and it's 2:30, and we're here to do some reading. Oh, it's okay if you can't hear. Hello. I'll wave at you instead. Yeah, and also I felt like I loved the gaming stream yesterday. That was fantastic. But something that I really felt I was missing was the ability to talk a bit more about stuff before and after. So this is also kind of me wanting to like talk and catch up and do the stuff that I didn't get to do yesterday. I'm still thinking about the game. I have not stopped thinking about the game. I really want to play it again. We're not doing that today. I'm saving that for next week. What I want to do today is I want to finish reading the book that I've been reading, called Video Games and Wellbeing. It's actually it was put together by, and I don't know how to pronounce her surname, so apologies if I pronounce this wrong, Dr. Rachel Cowart, or Covert. I don't know if it's how it's pronounced because it's a W, so it could be either way. And she's actually been on Anxiety stream. She makes videos of her own and is super cool. It turns out I didn't even realise. I'd followed her on Twitter, and then I found this book in the university library and just coincidentally read both, and only a few days ago clicked that it was the same person. Also, don't panic. I've split my lip open, like here, so don't panic if it looks like I've done this thing with my lip. It's just too dry. So I'll try and fix that through the through the stream. But yeah, the stuff I wanted to talk about, and I did kind of talk about this a bit, but I had a really rough mentoring session on Thursday, and not rough because my mentor wasn't very nice, because my mentor is amazing. But it's just been, I'm processing a lot of stuff, and really I've been overthinking things, and it really clicked with me weirdly when I was watching Critical Role, and I was watching it yesterday morning because, one second, I've got a laptop on here as well, which you can't see yet, but you will be able to when we get to reading. So there we go. This isn't going to be a spoiler, by the way. I was watching Critical Role this week, and there is, I guess it's kind of spoilery in that I'm going to talk about one of the characters, but not in any detail. One of the characters chronically overthinks things. And someone said to them, like, some really wise stuff about not taking responsibility for things that aren't your fault, and not blaming yourself for everything, and that sort of thing, and being able to share that, and also to move on from things and not get stuck thinking about everything constantly. And that character's response was just so, it just resonated with me so much, because what they said was, and I'll try and keep it really vague for anyone who doesn't want spoilers. They said they just closed their mouth and listened, and didn't try and like counter it, didn't try and respond to it, didn't try and like analyze it in any way or critique it in any way. They just listened, and that really resonated with me, because I have been overthinking too much. And what I was talking about yesterday is coming back into mentoring every week with, hey, this is this new solution I found that's gonna cure all of my illnesses, and that's not really how it works. And I think I've been yearning desperately for this kind of organisation and tidiness that I just don't get. And I think that's a bit contrary to how I work. I'm very... also, I've just realised that the music's a teeny bit louder points. I'll just sort that out for you. Yeah, I'm a very organised person. If you told that to any of my family when I was a teenager, by the way, they would have laughed at you because my bedroom had no floor. It was only like shit all over the place. But yeah, I need everything to be perfect, and the world is not like that. It's definitely not like that when you have multiple illnesses that are variable, that mess with your head, and yeah, I don't get that kind of... I'm not gonna... And the whole point of all the stuff I do is to make sure I don't have to have... that I do have that flexibility. I don't have to have that really strict everything, and that I can do what I want to when I want to. But I've been having this problem where when I get to periods of time where I can do what I want to, I don't know what I want to do. And I think it's in part because I'm putting so much pressure on myself to do certain things at certain times. Like, it's the weekend, I must rest and relax, but I felt like I wanted to read this book. So I'm trying to lean into that, and we've got... I talked about this. One of the things that my mentor said, that's something from another of her students, is that she was really proud of them because they'd come in and said, I've decided I'm just going to do the amount of work each day that I'm happy with. I'm not going to worry about hitting certain quotas or anything like that. All that stuff I did on Wednesday, where I was like, I'm going to do 2 hours a week of gaming and 1 hour a week of writing and 2 hours of... No, that's not happening. So here's my post-it note. It says, do the amount of work that you're happy with. It keeps falling off because it's not a very high quality post-it note, but it's on my... I'm putting it back on the bottom of my monitor, and eventually it might stay there. So that is what I'm doing. I'm doing the amount of work each day that I'm happy with, and I'm trying to do the amount of everything each day that I'm happy with, and that means some days I'm gonna want to do more, and like today, and I just have to trust myself, because I am gonna get it all done, because I care about it enough. I don't know why that's upsetting me. But yeah, that's just what I'm gonna try and do, and I'm not gonna worry about the fact that and with all sorts of things. I worry about the fact that I don't want to play World of Warcraft every day, but I do really enjoy playing it. Like, I really enjoy doing 2 raids a week, and like the other hours I need to do in order to sort of keep up with everything, but I don't want to play it every day. I don't like Mythic Plus. So I don't have a reason to... I don't have stuff to be working on constantly. I've got low dailies, but they charge up, and then I can do them every few days, and I don't want to play every day, and that's okay, and I don't need to feel bad about that. And I may not want to study every day, and that's okay as well, because I'm gonna have days like this where I feel like I want to study. And I think I wanna keep the Wednesday and Friday streams, but I wanna be more open to streaming more, and to streaming other things, and to just being here. And this is really important to me. Twitch is really important to me. The people on Twitch and my time on Twitch is really, even though I've not got like a community or anything behind me yet, I want to have that, and I want a place where we can talk about mental health and about physical health and about academia and disability and games and all of the things that I love. I want to be able to do all of that. So yeah, I just wanted to... that's the sort of stuff I wanted to talk about. There's other things as well. I'm going to think of them as we go through. I just thought the fact that, you know how I've been like, no, I want to say mental illness, not mental health, because blah, 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 blah. I think that was leaning into the othering of people with mental illness. And I think it was belittling the experiences of people who have episodic mental distress. So people who get depression for a period of time but don't have it chronically, or that sort of thing. And I think it was doing a disservice to both sides. So you might find me saying mental health more now rather than mental illness. And we'll see. And that's sort of one of, yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot this week, and how I view myself and how I view my illness and my disability. And it's a thing I'm constantly like reworking and rethinking about and changing my mind on, and that's always going to happen, and that's okay. And I'd rather have that discussion here, and be open about that, and be able then to think about it more, you know, whatever direction I might be going. But for now I've done that and gotten that out of the way, and I feel better now. That was like, I feel sometimes like, because I stay so much in my head and then I bubble up and I need to say loads of stuff and I just sort of have to word vomit it out, and I think that's why therapy and mentoring help me partly, is I store up all this stuff. Oh, but I didn't tell you about, I posted on Twitter about this. So you know how earlier in the week and last week I was saying that a thing I really want to do is to make it to the river near our house, and that I was worried about it because it's hilly and I didn't know how much I'd be able to manage it. I went there yesterday. And it really, really fucking hurt. I couldn't stand up for a bit later that evening. My body still is in so much pain today. So it was really good. Because I got myself there. I didn't go along the river at all, actually. I just got to the river. But I got to the river and went, I remember just that this is quite far now. I've gotten to see the river. I've gotten my river photo. I'll go home because otherwise I'll have trouble getting myself home. And whilst I could have called my husband to come and drive and pick me up, it was the middle of the day and he was at work, so it wouldn't have been very ideal. Also, it's just round the corner. Like, it's 10-15 minutes from the house, so I would have been super embarrassed as well. But I did it. And I think it was good to learn that, firstly, I can still do the things I want to. It's just going to be harder. But also that it does, that my illness is real. And because I walked for half an hour really slowly with a walking stick, I had 8 hours of really intense pain after it, and I'm still in pain now, almost 24 hours later. And that was not that much walking in the scheme of things if you compare that to, you know, going to campus. But just as I was walking to the river, I had really hyped music on. This is a it was funny because I was walking so slowly, but I had like League of Legends music in my head, and it was so like hyped up, and me hobbling along. Anyway, but as I was walking, I was just like, I'm gonna get myself back to campus, and I'm gonna be able to walk around on campus, because that is a thing that I want. I want to be able to do that, and I will do whatever it needs to. Hi, Senior. Welcome to the surprise stream. Yeah, I'll do whatever I need to in order to get that back, because that's so important to me. So yeah, I went to the river. I'm really pleased. But let us do, because I also, speaking of things I want to do, I just need to turn that around a bit. Sorry if that gives you a bit of noise. I also really want to do some reading. Thanks, Addie. I do feel relaxed. I feel much more relaxed today. Like, even though I've been in a lot of pain after that walking. Like I spent yesterday, it's a super weekend at the LEC. This is competitive League of Legends for anyone that doesn't watch it. So it's today, yesterday and tomorrow, rather than just Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so it was, I had like stuff to watch in the evening, and then I watched Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is a table story series. It's amazing, and I love all of the cast. And so I don't publicly talk about shipping in small tabletop shows, because I don't want to because I actually have the cast respond to us. I don't want to pressure them into doing anything. I'd rather see what they're gonna deliver. But the characters I ship spent a lot of yesterday's session holding hands. I'm just gonna put that out there. It wasn't like romantic holding hands, it was supportive, oh my god, the person that wants to kill you is here holding hands. But I was very pleased. It's super cute. Anyway, we're gonna stop talking about me shipping fake elves together, and you're gonna look at my lap apparently, because this is all in kind of the wrong place. Give me just a second and I'll sort this out. So this is my laptop, because what we're reading is an ebook. I don't know if I mean, that looks better for you, but it does not look better for me. My mother has endometriosis stage 4. She's had a laparoscopy for I can't speak today. Exploratory confirmation. Then a total hysterectomy, but it didn't really work. We're only looking for a surgeon that specialises in incision, but it seems only India cares to fix this illness. I'm so sorry, broken power supply. Yeah, that's I know a few people with endo, including some people that have had surgery, and it's so awful that you can go through such an invasive procedure knowing that it might not work, especially having to go through full hysterectomies and everything. And that it's an illness that, even though it's very well understood, because it's an illness that appears in women, it's not very well treated, and it should be. Yeah. So I looked at endometriosis a lot because I talk about this paper all of the time. So last year, sort of the year before last year, last academic year, I can speak. I wrote a paper on chronic pain in women, and I looked at endometriosis a bunch because it's really horrifying just how many women are referred for psychiatric help when they present with pain, and yeah, it's awful. It's even worse in women of colour, especially black women. I have 60% in my head, and 60% of women being referred to psychiatric treatment for presenting with pain is horrifying. I don't know if it's the correct number, but it is that sort of level of utterly ridiculously high. I'm just gonna... This is quite dim, so I'm gonna see if turning my upper light on helps at all. It doesn't. You can't really see this, but then I'm not allowed... I can't give you this book anyway because it's a library book. So... But yeah, it's super hard, and I'm so sorry that your mother is going through that, and I really hope that she's able to find a doctor that will listen and believe her. I know there are doctors like that out there. They're harder to find than they should be, but they are there. And I hope that, yeah, I hope that she's able to find one. Oh, I've just written chapter and then I've not written the number. Thanks for following. Maybe not so much. So this book has been fantastic. It's one of those compilation of essays books, really common in academia, like an edited compilation. Sorry, I'm just getting my microphone in a place where you can hear me, but I can see the book. Also, this laptop is touchscreen, and it it's a 360 flip. So what I'm doing right now is I've got it opened up, and then over to the side. So I've then got the book and it's easier for me to read. I also sometimes have it like this, with the book on the side, depending on, it sort of depends what I'm reading in. I'm reading in Adabate digital editions at the moment, because this is a library book that I only get in that format. Or all right, they can just go if they're just gonna spam. I was willing to put up with it for a moment, but if you're just here to spam my chat, then goodbye. Go do something more productive with your time, please. And I did start reading this chapter, but I think I stopped partway through. Yeah, so I'd thought about getting a tablet for this sort of thing, and I may still do, just because it would be lighter, but I wanted something that I could use for drawing, because I prefer to do my drawing digitally, and I wanted something that I could use in lots of different ways. So this has been amazing. It's an HP Spectre, but I can't remember what version it is, and it's been really good, and I would recommend HP laptops. I've always had Dell laptops before, but actually it's super nice. I'm really pleased with it. Power supply, I'm gonna leave your message there, but just so you're aware, I prefer that we don't talk about specific medications here. One of the reasons that I do that is, so I'm not a doctor yet, but I won't be that kind of doctor either. And medication is one of those things that is very unique to individuals, and I think a lot of misinformation gets spread about what medications people should or shouldn't be on. I'm absolutely fine with us talking about classes of medication, so saying narcotics and opiates and things like that is absolutely fine. I've been on opiate-based painkillers before, and they don't work for my kind of pain, but I also had withdrawal problems when I came off them. I had a lot of horrible side effects on them, so I'm happy to talk about things in... So sorry, I've got to stop punching my microphone. I gesticulate too much when I'm talking. I'm absolutely happy to talk about medications in that sense, but if we can avoid giving actual names of medications, then that would be great. Thank you. And I'm glad that she's dealing well with it, and I'm glad that at least she's got doctors that are giving her things, even if it's been hard to find the right thing. I'm now... like a year and a few months into getting proper treatment for my chronic pain condition, and I have been on 6 different medications, I think, all different types. One type ended up with me in the hospital. One type was the opiates that then became awful, but I took opiate-based painkillers, like a relatively high dose every day for almost a year before we realised it wasn't working. When I got my diagnosis of fibromyalgia, so fibromyalgia is a specific kind of pain, and opiates just don't work on it. And we think I'd become opiate resistant as well, which is a problem now, because now when I have like a kind of pain, I had a toothache, and my husband went, "Oh, why don't you take some painkillers?" And I went, "Oh, but painkillers don't work on me." "Oh no, hold on, this is a kind of pain that it would work on." So fortunately, I've then found that taking that sort of thing. Thanks, Barhalion. But yeah, it's a rough thing, medication, and medication is something I think people think it's much more of an immediate fix than it is, and it unfortunately doesn't work like that. I've taken, God, probably a dozen different kinds of medication for my mental illness. Some of them I've had horrendous side effects on and had to like change through a bunch of different ones. But the problem is it takes like 3 months for it to all get into your system for you to know whether it's working or not, and it's just awful. The disappearing water bottle. All right, but yeah, so this book has been so good. It's all sorts of different things. It's all about well-being and video games. You can tell that, so it's mostly like psychiatrists and people trained in psychology in some form. Not all necessarily medical doctors. Some people who are sort of theoretical doctors. But you can tell they're all gamers. Like, a lot of them start with like really lovely anecdotes about gaming. There was one that was about using gaming to learn about like persistence and working hard with things and that sort of thing, and had a lovely anecdote about his daughter joining her swim team and really struggling with it, and wanting to give up. And eventually him saying, "Yeah, but you beat that boss in Breath of the Wild, and that took you ages and you had to work really hard on it." And it was just like this really lovely personal anecdote that the essay was framed around, and that was super sweet. Oh, I've still got that timer on. Hold on, let me turn that off. I've put my keyboard very far away to have all this other stuff on my desk. I'll just turn that. We're not playing Hellblade today, so let me just disable that. I forgot to do that. Turn that timer off. There we go. There we go. But that is a good list of mental health resources if you want them. I need to, if you give me just a moment, I'm just gonna move the chat box because you can't read it up there. So let me put it there, and then it's actually legible. I was gonna, for a moment there, I was like, oh, then I'll flip it horizontally so it's aligned on the right side, but that would make all the text backwards. Right. How far did I get in this? I made a comment about page 99, so I think I got... Yeah, so this was the really interesting thing. So this essay is about mindfulness and gaming, and it mentions flow state. I am not going to try and pronounce the name of the psychologist who came up with flow state. If you Google flow, you will understand why. In fact, this word here, this really long word, is his name. I think it's Csikszentmihalyi, but I'm not sure. Anyway, that guy, that dude who came up with flow state. A flow experience is like when you get fully immersed and involved in something. You know, when you're playing a game, because this is the example that's used, and hours just fly by because you've just been so engrossed in it that you're just there, you're there in it, and you're so incredibly present in that game. That's flow state. And flow state is a really good thing for us. It's one of the things that helps us work better. Like, if you can get into flow state while reading, for example, then you're going to read more effectively and be able to do it for longer periods of time, that sort of thing. And there's a load of citations in here about video games creating flow state. And then I was thinking about this because I've come across flow state before. And I was wondering whether the creation of flow state is common across the media that we're looking at in my thesis. Like, is that one of the things that links them all? As part of that immersion link to everything, is the link that it's easier to achieve flow state whilst playing a video game, whilst in a role-playing game, whilst writing fan fiction, for example. And that's something I want to think about. And I was so pleased when I thought of that, because then I was like, wow, I'm doing the thing of, still thinking about my research questions whilst I'm reading, other than just getting really excited, charging through it. Yeah, so like this says, early on, that dude, his name is now that dude, okay? Anytime, we're just renaming him that dude. Or Flow Dude. Early on, Flow Dude applied his theory to games by identifying how a state of flow can be achieved while playing chess, poker, or tennis. Video games, however, seem to be exceptionally well suited to encourage flow because, by their nature, they meet the 4 preconditions outlined by Flow Dude to induce a flow state. So I think it's worth looking at those conditions. And does it do that here? Yes, it does. So this is page 99. Flow state, 4 preconditions. And I will make a note that that's in Flow Dude. That's his name forever now. I've got to make sure I don't write Flow Dude in my thesis. Do you imagine that? Could you imagine getting to my Viva and the external marker going, so I've noticed that you've cited someone called Flow Dude. Could you elaborate? This is really silly. I'm sorry, Flow Dude. I'm sure that your name is just perfectly normal in your language, and I'm just this awful English person who can't pronounce it or spell it. But it does only have 5 vowels. And it's 16 letters long. It's got 11 consonants in. Okay. Provide concrete goals and rules. All games have some type of goal with yeah. There we go. Also, I get really excited when it cites games I've played. I've just got, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, oh, I've played that. Yeah, so you get the chance to level up. That acts as another kind of goal. You get music celebrating the achievement, that sort of thing. Actions that adjust to the player's capabilities. Okay. This is where video games begin to stand out from traditional games in their ability to induce flow states, as video games allow for an optimal balancing of system challenge and skill. Interestingly, I know of some... Hi, Shadow Gamer, please don't call me baby girl. I'm a grown woman, and I am worthy of your respect. I don't know you. You don't get to call me things like that. I know of some board games that do this as well, that have variable difficulty settings in, like Nations. I sort of had a love-hate relationship with Nations. It was kind of fun, but also it lasted 6 fucking hours. Because there were 4 of us playing, and it just takes a really long time to go through all the turns. So yeah, I'll make a note on this. So this is actions that adjust to the player's capabilities. I can't even write today. Mentions... I mean, certainly board games don't do it to the same extent at all. Obviously, every video game pretty much has a difficulty setting somewhere or something you can change. Whereas board games are completely the other way around. Okay. Yeah, so I've just made a note that actually some board games do. Also, I'm just going to... Sorry, just a second. I'm just trying to sort something out. Here we go. Is that what I want? No. I'm an experienced streamer, everyone, and I know where all of the settings on things are. And how to do things. There we go, that's what I want. Yeah, okay. So yeah, actions that adjust players' capabilities. Dynamic scaling has been found to be the most successful at inducing flow in game players. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I definitely think I almost feel like I want to start writing like a list of things that I've found that I want to like bring up in my thesis. Maybe we'll take a pause in a moment and do that, because I know I've thought of a bunch, and like flow state is a thing that I would clearly want to talk about. And like I want to go back in and read, so this is a citation that's in here, so I want to go find that and read that, because I think I need to like it's okay reading generally, but at some point I've got to start pulling these things out and thinking about them and writing about them. And whilst I don't necessarily need to do that right now, sorry, I'm just sorting the music level out again. I think some of these songs are just a bit louder than others, so it sort of ends up have to adjust it as we go along. But yeah, I think at some point I need to, maybe I'll finish this chapter and then we'll maybe pause and sort of pull some things together. I'd vaguely started doing that, but this will mean I can go like start a proper list. And I guess we'll probably, I don't know, I'll probably do it in Notion to start with, and then I can move it to Scrivener as and when. Okay. So provide clear feedback. Video games provide very clear and immediate feedback, such as an avatar's virtual death. Yeah, there was another chapter that was about feedback. Yeah, talking about knowing that you need to be focused. It uses the example of forts in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where there's a moment, if you get spotted, you sort of have this like almost slow-mo moment where you get a second to hide or assassinate or, you know, take different actions. But you have to be paying attention to notice that, right? You can't just be like plodding along. Yeah, and that you have to have this like feedback loop of support. So remove distractions to focus the user's attention. And then this is saying that basically immersion is what does that. Like you have to be immersed in it. It's different from the passive experience of watching a movie or reading a book. It's that interactivity that we've talked about. Yeah, and it mentions that this is something that games, more complicated adventure games do, but also things like Candy Crush. How cool is it that a chapter in an academic book can cite Assassin's Creed Odyssey and then Candy Crush? It's like the paper we read the other day that was comparing playtime in Animal Crossing with Plants vs Zombies. Cool. How does being in a state, and then so I'll just make a note that my hair's going everywhere. Page 101. Interactivity as source of focus to induce flow state. Cool. How does being in a state of flow translate to learning how to be mindful in our everyday experience? Oh my god, that's a lot of citations. Like this entire bit here. It's just one wall of citation. Including relaxation. Oh my god, there's more. It's all up here as well. Relaxation, improved concentration, improved mood and reduced stress, the development of empathy and compassion. A recent study examined how mindfulness can be unintentionally trained through game design. The researchers assessed how well digital game designs align with individual aspects of mindfulness based on the CHIME 8 mindfulness factors, which are awareness towards inner experiences, awareness towards outer experiences, openness to experience, decentering, acceptance, relatively, I think that probably means relativity of thoughts and beliefs. insightful understanding and acting with awareness. That's so cool. So the reason this is super interesting to me, so I've done a lot of mindfulness work to as someone who chronically overthinks because of their anxiety and also just who they are. I've done a lot of mindfulness work, and I've always felt that I've been failing at being a mindful person because I spend so much of my time playing games. What if I was succeeding as a mindful person because I'm spending so much time playing games? That puts a spin on it, doesn't it? Wow. Yeah. Because I can just zone out, and I find that really therapeutic. And I've always just referred to it as a distraction technique, but what if it's also a mindfulness technique? Should play more video games. Play enough video games. Yeah, so I'm going to make a note on that. So this is 102. So chime study. Slivinsky, 2015. Mindfulness unintentionally trained through game design. This is so cool. This is so cool. There are so many people that I want to get to read this book. Like friends and a family and stuff that work in like either with children or in psychiatry or in psychology or combinations of all the above. Yeah, and then this is talking about games that are specifically designed for mindfulness. Oh, this is interesting. It's got how you cite a Steam review. One reviewer even claimed that the game has changed my life. Brackets, Valve Corporation 2019 reviews section. That's useful to know, because I know there's some games where, because I flicked through the Steam reviews for Senua's Sacrifice, because I was interested to see if there was anyone in there who was like, I understand psychosis a lot more now, or I have psychosis and this made me feel really seen, or things like that. There are relatively few studies available that directly investigate the ability for video game flow states to translate to out-of-game mindfulness. The potential for future research is open. Okay, so this is the end of it, so I'll just put like... Not... Yeah, so it looks like the studies that have been done are on that flow state directly within gaming, whereas this is then saying what we haven't done is looked at what that then does to the rest of your life if you've gotten that mindfulness training from gaming. Yeah, and also talking about the benefits that if we then had more mindfulness training games that could have on people, especially because like a huge proportion of gaming now is actually done on smartphones. It's not just consoles and PCs anymore. It's increasingly that sort of thing, or Switch, like handheld things like the Switch. And I know there's some interesting things on the Switch that you can do. So yeah, I can either keep going or... How many more chapters have I got? I think I've got 2 chapters left. 3 chapters, and then the concluding comments, which is how many pages? I don't know, because that's not showing me the page numbers. I think it's about 80 pages. So maybe let's... So my laptop is so warm. Okay, can I turn the screen down a bit? And also unplug you, because you don't need that on top of it. Let me, if I move this over here. I'm gonna have to move this up as well. I'm gonna move this over to Notion, but I've just got to actually get it open first, because I need to make sure that it's showing the right Notion. Because I have so the really lovely thing about Notion, if you're not familiar with it, you can have separate projects. So I have one thing that's for my PhD. Here we go. Oh no, you can see my surroundings. I changed some of my camera setup, which is also why I'm more zoomed out now. Basically, I was previously opening a separate thing to then show you this here, so that I could have the zoom controlled, but actually this is fine and easier because it means I have fewer steps to, like, fewer things I have to open, fewer things that can go wrong, all that sort of thing. So yeah, let's so those are miscellaneous and non-reading notes. I'm gonna create a whole... No, I don't want to add something to these as planned. I want to add a general page. I don't even need to say deep dive, I can just say video games. And then I want empty with icon. Oh, this is a cool. What a lovely icon it's given me. We could just press random and just see what happens. Activity, there we go. I've used that one before, actually. So, why am I looking down at my page? I don't know. I actually just want that to be a, just gonna put this up here, so that's higher up. Yeah, maybe I'll just put it in here. So, things that I know. So flow state, immersion and immersion and interactivity. And then I had the, actually I'll just put under here, is flow state, like for my actual thought. So it is flow state common across all my media. I don't know what that means. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to rotate this around so it's actually facing the right way. Sorry if that makes any noise, by the way. I don't know if it does. I'm just going to go through all of the notes I've done thus far on video games. I know there's points where I've put in my notes, like, thoughts that I've had. So we're just going to have a flick through and see if there's anything else in there, any other thoughts that I can then pull out to put there. Okay, so one of the things we found yesterday when we were playing Senua's Sacrifice is gaming conventions. Subversion of convention to create induced. I found the word induce in a few things I was reading, and I think that's I think it's a good way of describing this. Subversion of convention to induce particular experiences. Utilizing convention to induce. Yeah. So basically, how do I? No, I want to go. Do I have to do this again? Yeah. I'm really good at using Notion, everyone. Sound. So we know that includes music. We know it includes sound effects. And I'm just under here, I'm going to put diegetic and non-diegetic. So diegetic, in case, excuse me, you're not familiar with it, means something that is or isn't part of the fictional reality. So if you are playing a game, let's say we're playing Hellblade, for example. Oh no, that's a terrible example because that's a hard one. You are playing The Sims, okay? And some background music starts playing. It's not coming from anything in the Sims world. It's not coming from a TV, it's not coming from a radio, it's not coming from anything like that. That is non-diegetic because you are hearing it, but the Sims are not. If the Sim goes and puts the radio on, you're then hearing that music, but the Sim is also hearing it, so that's diegetic. Similarly, to another comparison for that, because this is a term used in role playing, if you go into a room in a LARP specifically, and you're in a medieval setting, but there is a fire extinguisher, the fire extinguisher is non-diegetic because your medieval peasant is not seeing a fire extinguisher. And there are different ways that in LARPing people indicate diegetic versus non-diegetic items. For example, in one of my games, any paperwork that is bright yellow is non-diegetic, and the reason for that is that bright yellow is what the character sheets, where you write down like how much of whatever power and stuff you've used, goes. So that's just a way for them to indicate, and if they ever need to leave like signs or things around for people to understand what something is or isn't or whatever. And the thing with LARPing is that where possible, you want to make as much stuff diegetic as possible and have as little non-diegetic stuff because of from an immersion point of view. So I think it's going to be really interesting to consider. Like, for example, you would cover the fire extinguisher with a cloth. Don't cover fire extinguishers with a cloth safety-wise. I'm just going to put that out there. That is a bad thing to do. I always do it. Don't do that. Like, I don't mind, you can't always cover, like, the fire exit sign above a door. That's fine. But a fire extinguisher is fucking massive, and you can just put a small cloth over it. But don't do that from a safety point of view. I'm not telling you to cover up safety equipment in a fire. You don't want to get your fire extinguisher tangled in some muslin. Anyway, yeah, so I'm interested to think about diegetic and non-diegetic music and sound effects, actually. So actually, because I think that could be sound effects as well. So, for example, leveling up in a game, you get that. You always get a noise when you level up in a game. Your character doesn't hear that. They don't go, "Oh, I'm level 5 now." So you can think about diegetic and non-diegetic music. That's another one. I do want to think about actually, I'm just going to put accessibility. Accessibility of immersive experience. And then I'm going to put subtitles, and then under that I'm going to put subtitles in Senua's Sacrifice. Different colours. Not all of the background voices subtitled. Because yesterday we noticed that, so if it was one of the voices that Senua hears, it was up at the top of the screen and it was in yellow. And if it was either Senua speaking or someone else speaking aloud, or particular voices in her head, the narrator and the Irish dude. I don't know if we know his name. No, we do know his name. I just don't remember it. They were always at the bottom and they were in white. And it's really interesting thinking about that and the indication of what isn't important. On top of that, not all of the yellow voices, so the general voices she was hearing, not all of what they were saying was present, which is fair because it would have to be like words all over the screen. But actually, I think it might have been interesting to do that? Because is that a way that you can convey that experience of constantly hearing voices talking over each other? Because that was really effective to hear. Is that a way you could have conveyed that in the subtitles? Did they think about the immersive experience from the point of view of someone who is deaf when they were putting the game together? I don't know. That's an interesting thing to think about. And then there's another one. I know I want to think about real-time events as a form of immersivity, but real-time events are also an accessibility problem. And there are some games that will let you take the timers off real-time events, will let you get rid of real-time events altogether, or do other things that mess with them. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about as well. So that was flow state. We've already put flow state. So identity and identifying, as versus with characters. I've got stuff on that already. And I think that's an important thing because we're talking, that affects your immersiveness. It affects what affect occurs upon you as a result of the game. Play. I realise play is a strange word to write down when we're talking about video games, but it's like the human need for play. Brené Brown talks about this and a play as being fundamental to cultivating resilience against shame. And I think that's, and then it's something that's talked about a lot in psychology as well. So I think that's something that's worth exploring, is the fulfillment of our need to play. Ooh, my head's getting foggy. Actually, that's really weird. Like, I just really suddenly felt the ache in my legs really intently, and my arms, like my upper arms. And then my head, like I could, you know when you get cotton wool in your head when you've got a cold? I got sort of like that, but a bit fuzzier. Finding the words to describe these sensations is hard. I think something that I'm gonna need to talk about, and I'm probably gonna do this in like the history of. I already had made some notes on this, hadn't I? Hang on, it's in here. Come on, you can load. Oh, we're gonna get rid of this bullshit. Fuck that. These were things I was gonna look at, so I think I'll leave this as things that I'm looking for, and I'm gonna keep that list as things that I found. And something that I found is negative bias in video game studies. Loads of research has been done into the negative impact of gaming on mental health and on well-being in general. Not as much has been done on the positive effect, and that's the bias that's in there. It's not necessarily that the individual study has bias within it, it's that the prevalence of negative, looking for the negative versus looking for the positive, creates a bias in video game studies as a whole, and that's something that's been shifting in the last 10 years and changing, and we're going, away from moral panic and, well, video games are going away from moral panic, and back towards the idea of looking towards the positive and wanting to fund and push research. Because the thing is that the research that gets funded is the research that people are wanting and looking for and building upon. It's harder to fund research that isn't like vogue, as it were. So I think that's it. I wanna do more of video games in my postdoc. I've just found it so interesting already, and I'm like a week in. Oh, self-determination theory has come up a lot, and I want to look into that more. That was on comics. That's not going to help me. That's for later. Yeah, so this is one of the papers that was talking about that bias. This is the paper on Plants vs Zombies and Animal Crossing. So I think I'll mention... Oh, actually, maybe I'll put it under here. Menthol. No. Methodological. Can't spell. Methodological weakness. I think actually I probably want to... Bear with me. I want to put research issues because there's then a few of them underneath that. That was my reading for that group. That was my reading for that group. Okay. That's everything we have thus far. That's actually quite a lot. And yeah, I don't know what to do. I think it's hard to know whether I'm going to finish this book, obviously, but it's hard to know whether I keep like reading generally and going through the stuff I've got, or at what point I start diving into one of those things in particular and starting to pull it out and starting to think about how that crosses over with other things, or how it could cross over with other things. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I want to go a bit longer with the general reading right now, but we'll see what happens in the future and what I end up feeling like I'm doing. I just need to check on something. You might get some noise for a second. I'll try and mute it. There we go. I've muted it in time. 21 minutes. Okay. Sorry, I was checking how long it is until League of Legends starts. So I've got 20 minutes left before I need to go. That's the thing with the Saturday stream. Is time limited by me wanting to go do things with my time. Right. With 20 minutes though, I probably can get through a chapter, so let's bring us back. Where? There. Push that keyboard away. Bring all of this back. Oh, you can actually see that better now that I've turned the brightness down. Oh, I'm not gonna bother starting on that bit. But oh, this has been so good. I feel like I've made a ton of really good progress, and it's been so good to talk about it, and lovely, and I like streaming. I like my PhD. I'm gonna have to turn the brightness off, I'm afraid. I like doing this. So hang on, it's I need to write the name of the chapter down. Chapter 8. Follow the Trail of Enemies. That's a great title for so something we're going to start doing next week is I need to start preparing my presentation. It's not until the 7th of April, But I want to start working on it now. Yeah, just start putting like slides together and stuff. I've got my write-up, so the first thing I will do is I will test how long it takes to just read my write-up, and therefore how much like information I have versus I need to cut down. And then I'm going to do the slides. There are things I want to do with the slides. I want to make sure that I am able to audially describe my slides from an accessibility point of view, but in a way that's like quick and easy, or make sure that my slides don't have any text that I'm not also speaking. I think that's the easier one to do, and then I can describe any images. That's important to me, and I think it's something that will stand out because I don't think everyone will be doing it, and hopefully people notice and, you know, think about doing that. Because it's important. I don't do it a lot on here, because I couldn't constantly describe what is, you know, it would take up too much time. And it would make the format of the stream not work. But there's definitely times and places where it does need to be done. Okay. Just keep an eye on the time. So I've got until 4 basically. Okay, so this is talking about why we choose to seek out challenges and why we choose to do really difficult things. And it's comparing, are you ready for this? It's comparing ultra marathons and PhDs to video games, specifically to Mario. This is amazing. It just makes me really happy to read things like this. I don't know. Yeah, like games are such a huge part of my life, and it's so lovely to hear people just. It's a thing I could just talk about. I think all of these things in my PhD is stuff I can just happily keep talking about. I'm so pleased. Pac-Man was actually so difficult it was never meant to actually be winnable. Are you gonna mention Dark Souls? Oh yeah, there we go. Dark Souls is there. Yeah, speedrunners, achievement hunters, or hardcore gamers, so people who play on the highest difficulty settings. Constraint satisfaction. Okay, so it's an idea that there's a kind of satisfaction of working within the constraints and the rules, like persisting and winning Dark Souls despite the fact that you lose everything if you fail, that sort of thing. And then speedruns, so breaking constraints. This is amazing. For example, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is meant to be finished in 30 to 40 hours. However, some players have worked glitches in the game so well that the world record as of July 2019 is 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Speedrunners are terrifying. I don't know if anyone's ever watched speedrunners, but they're really good. So working with constraints and breaking them. And then I'm just going to put different forms of satisfaction. And it is really satisfying, right? Like, there's when you find it, the whole feature not a bug thing. When you find something that you're like, oh wow, I've broken this encounter, I've broken this bit of the game, but in a way that's within those constraints technically. There are fights in a lot of games actually that I've done where, because sometimes I do play on higher difficulties, it depends what the game is. I'll often like later on do a playthrough on the harder difficulties, and at that point you've got to think really tactically, and I swear to God 9 times out of 10 the tactic is retreat to the next room, put your really tough warrior in the door and fight one thing at a time. And it will never cease to be hilarious to me that I'm like, it's all right, just put Adair in the door and then the rest of us will stand behind it and then we can defeat Radric. That's a Pillars of Eternity reference if you're not familiar. It's a really good game. If you're having trouble in Radric's Hold, I recommend sticking Adair in a door and having everyone behind him. Very effective. Individuals who are motivated by breaking constraints are likely those high in sensation seeking, a personality trait reflecting a pattern to find novel, rewarding sensations and stimuli, and a willingness to take risks in doing so. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff about the personality of the person and how that interacts with the game. And that's not just in this essay. It's been in like a bunch of others that I've read as well. I'm going through this one quite quickly. That's partly because I think this is a little less relevant, but also because I want to go and watch League of Legends. I like being here. Half of this stream has been me raving about how happy I am to be streaming, but also I really want to know who gets into playoffs. My favourite team are already in playoffs, but I believe in the XL Miracle run. I believe. Yes, there's the mastery-orientated people who are completionist players. Actually, I'm going to write these down. I think that's a good. So this one is sensation seekers are constraint breakers. And then this one says self-challengers, completionists, similar to those motivated by breaking constraints, self-challengers are likely to find the typical means of completing an activity becomes repetitive after a while and therefore loses excitement. Researchers found that individuals who pursue challenges with the goal of learning versus the goal of performing are more likely to be mastery orientated. Okay. Salience motivators. Did the music stop? I think it did. Oh no, it started again. So salience motivators are, I'll just put in brackets, desire to achieve. Okay, that's not got a, it's just talking about desire to achieve in general. but actually talking about like higher difficulties and stuff. Okay, so this is page 114, and it's now about cognitive dissonance. Trying and not achieving mental discomfort. It's really hard to write if you look in. I'm looking at my stream output and writing, looking at my handwriting there, but it's blurry. Yeah, okay. About Breath of the Wild again. Breath of the Wild has been in like half of these essays, I swear. I'm just going to see how many more pages I have. Okay, I think we can finish this. Because I'm kind of skimming as well. Oh god. This is also a personal anecdote now, so I'm going to go through it faster. Hi, Mango. Alright. He's talking about beating the Lionel in Breath of the Wild. I've not played Breath of the Wild or any Zelda games. Don't come at me for that. Cognitive consonance is when you then achieve the thing despite the difficulty. And that was page 116 to 117. Consonance is a state of harmony and internal consistency that is compatible with one's previous attitude. Psychological growth. And self-fulfilling prophecy. Cool. Are we on time? I've got 5 minutes. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish the article, even if I have to like miss pick and ban. This is why I normally time my streams carefully so that I can still do all of the nerdy things I do. Yep. Guitar Hero, now cited. Oh, references games done quick. Oh, cool. Vanny, what do you, how can I do what? What do you mean? And hello. Okay, so then this is talking about a sense of belonging in those challenges being social. After a while, an advantage of intrinsic motivators can actually lead to people moving away from this kind of motivational salience. They may become less motivated by the goal and more driven by engaging in the activity itself. Yeah. I think that's true. Like, I think I get the satisfaction from beating bosses in WoW, but if I didn't enjoy the process of getting there, then, you know, why would I spend hours doing 100 pulls on Syed and Athris? I didn't do all 100. I think the guild did 100 and something, and I wasn't there for all of them. I wasn't in the kill when our guild killed it either. We're working on getting those of us who helped the kill. Takeaway. Gaming for many is a way to relax, escape, and enjoy an activity with friends. For others, it's a way to challenge their limits. Yeah. Gonna do it, guys. We're gonna finish in time. Understanding constants in defeat and rage quitting or giving up can be a traumatic experience for some. However, it can just as easily be a tool to understand limits, how to fail, and reinvent ourselves. Overcoming dissonance in a triumphant manner might be a tool for arrogant and toxic behaviour in chat. However, it can just as easily be a tool for someone struggling with self-esteem to gain confidence and overcome other obstacles. Yeah, so this book talks very strongly about gaming as a tool and that it can be used for good or ill, that there are people who can become addicted to games and use them, but it talks very much about the fact that games are not the problem itself, it's a reaction to something else occurring in their lives, and that is the tool that they are using. I wonder, like, the thing being a tool, is that common in all of my media as well? I'm about to write, is being a tool common to my media? I obviously don't mean being a dick. Alright. Oh, sorry. That probably made a horrible noise. Yeah, gaming as a medium to vent is something like gaming as a way to relieve stress or that sort of thing is talked about as well in the stuff we've been reading. But yeah, so I'm gonna actually end that super quickly so that I can go off and do the things I want to do. Yes, being toxic absolutely spoils it for other people, and something we've looked at as well is that there's a really strong social contract relevance in gaming, especially social gaming, and that has an element as well. So yeah, but that toxicity is also a problem. Obviously it's a problem morally, but it's also a problem in terms of what you then get out of the game. It modifies that as well. But yeah, I'm going to hop off very quickly. Thank you all so much for coming for this impromptu Saturday stream. Thank you for helping me get some more reading done and get some thinking done, and for listening to me ramble. I will definitely be back on Wednesday. I may well be back before that because I just like you all. So we'll see what I feel like and what I feel like doing. I will focus on doing the amount of everything that I'm happy with. I hope you will also do the same. Have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your weekend, rest of your however long it is until I see you again. Thank you so much for being here, and take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.